TitleMatchNetwork.com.
First time that I worked for Jerry Lawler in USWA.
Okay.
I went down, Trailer Park Trash and I rode down, and we stayed at the Admiral Bimbo. This is where a lot of the guys used to stay. It was like $25 a night. I think I was 20 years old. You know, I'd gone to a Catholic high school my whole life. I'd never experienced anything, you know, out of the ordinary. So Trailer Park Trash brings me in there. I think he drank about 6 beers on from Louisville to Nashville, and then 6 beers from Nashville to Memphis, and he was driving. We get to the Admiral Bimbo. I swear, I walk in. It was $25 a night, the worst hotel I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
There were crack whores outside. There were prostitutes. There were pimps out there. And I was just like, I wouldn't even get under the covers. I just put all my clothes on and laid on top of the bed, freaking out. So Trash decides he's going to go to the boat and go gambling. So he leaves me there.
Oh.
And I'm just scared to death. And I couldn't sleep all night. There's a lamp. I remember sitting on the desk. Used women's underwear were on top of it. And not like a cute little pair. I mean, it's like who shot that penguin type? You know, the thing was huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god! And there was a lamp that was like had a cord that was plugged into the bathroom socket that you had to use for the bathroom. The cord was all frayed. And the Trash shows up like 6 a.m, stumbling around. Long story short, we make it to TV. You know, first time I've ever been on Memphis TV. I don't even remember how I wrestled now, but then I got a check from Jerry Lawler, signed by Jerry Lawler, $25.
Wow.
I was so excited. I didn't want to cash it, but then I didn't have any gas left, didn't have any money left. It was a Saturday, no banks would cash it. Trailer Park Trash, it took us 12 hours to get back from Memphis to Louisville, which is about a 6.5-hour drive. We had 4 hours traffic between Memphis to Nashville, and about 4 hours from Nashville to Louisville. But I had my check from Jerry Lawler, so that was probably more exciting than actually signing my first WWE contract, although WWE contract paid just a bit more than the $25 Jerry Lawler paid me.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, were you a fan of wrestling growing up?
Of course I was a fan. I started watching wrestling when I was, I don't know, maybe 8 years old. My first match I ever saw was Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff against Roddy Piper shortly after WrestleMania 1 when Piper and Cowboy Bob Orton left Paul Orndorff in the ring, and he came out of Saturday Night's main event, House of Fire, beat Piper all the way back under the bleachers, into the back. Piper locked himself in the dressing room, and after that I was hooked.
How did you wind up getting into pro wrestling?
Well, actually, it's kind of 2 stories. First story is the Nightmare Danny Davis runs a wrestling school, it was in Jeffersonville, Indiana. It's now in Louisville, Kentucky. I actually went to high school with his daughter.
Huh.
And, you know, whenever we'd have, like, pep rallies and stuff, I played football, you know, and they'd always say, you know, he wants to be a professional wrestler. And she approached me one day and said, my dad teaches a wrestling school. And so when I was 18, I went and watched one of the little shows they had at the school. And I spoke with him, but I was going to play an all-star football game over the summer, so I wanted to wait till after that. But shortly after that, Yoshi Kwan ran a little spot show in Clarksville, Indiana, and I saw on the flyer where if you paid $25, you could have your own wrestling match.
Huh.
So we were seniors in high school. A friend of mine named Scott Schickert, he and I went and we had a big wrestling match. And beforehand, I said, well, you know, I don't know who's supposed to win, who's supposed to lose, so we'll wrestle for a little bit, we'll roll out of the ring, and then we'll get counted out. And he had a brother named Russell Schickert. Russell was his manager. He was Russell the Love Muscle. So we're wrestling, probably the worst match. The crowd made no response. It was just god awful. We had no idea how to do pro wrestling. We rolled out of the ring. We're punching each other on the floor. Referee, 7, 8. Scott rolls back in the ring. Russell grabs my leg, 9, 10. First match ever. Got double crossed and lost. But shortly after that, 1996, I signed up for the Danny Davis School of Pro Wrestling and had my first match in September of 96 against handsome Jason Lee.
Wow. What do you remember about your first match?
I was nervous as could be. I didn't have any wrestling boots, any wrestling tights. I was an amateur wrestler in high school, so I had my little amateur wrestling knee pads and singlet. And my family's from Louisville, so they all came out for the show. And the building probably held 150, maybe 180 people. I think 60 of them were there to see me. But Jason Lee and I became pretty good friends, so he took care of me in the first match. It was exciting.
Cool. What was the hardest thing about training, either mentally or physically?
Trailer Park Trash would chop the shit out of me. My chest would be black and blue and bleeding. And other than that, like I said, I was an amateur wrestler in high school and played football. So the physical part, I was, I could hang in there. It was just getting used to the different subculture that's in a wrestling locker room, all the different things that go on, and then the way people act and the different characters in pro wrestling.
Yeah. Now, when you got into it, did you go into it thinking that this was going to be something you wanted to do for the rest of your life, or was it just the fan in you wanted to do it, try it?
No, I had no idea. There was a wrestling school in my hometown, and I thought, it must be my destiny that I at least have to try this.
Yeah.
I'd always wanted to wrestle for WWE or WCW at the time, whoever, but also, USWA was the Memphis territory. It would come through Louisville every Tuesday night. Louisville Garden, see you there, brother. Every Tuesday night. I aspired to be there, but I never really thought that I would make it. I didn't know if I would or if I wouldn't, but I just wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And 1996, I started wrestling at the school. I remember it was April 1st, 1997. Danny called me and said they need somebody at the Gardens for USWA. Somebody didn't show up. I packed up my stuff. I rushed over there. I got there right at bell time. Dean Hill was the announcer. Dean Hill goes, April Fools.
Wow.
My heart just sank. He goes, no, I'm just kidding. You're on second. The bad news is you're on against a 400-pound guy. It was Tank from the Truth Commission.
Oh, jeez.
He took care of me that night. And so that was my first match for USWA. And shortly thereafter, I started doing TV for USWA before they closed up. So, but I didn't have any. I wanted to be in WWE, but I didn't really, I didn't think I would make it.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like things just kept happening, and I kept pursuing it. I didn't give up. I did USWA. I wrestled for Music City Wrestling that was ran by Burt Prentice for a short time.
What do you remember about your match with Corey Macklin and Jerry Lawler?
Oh my gosh. One of my favorite matches because, growing up in Louisville, I'd always watch Jerry Lawler wrestle. Mid-South Coliseum was like this, it was the Madison Square Garden of the Memphis territory. So all of a sudden, I'm wrestling in the Madison, in the Mid-South Coliseum. Jerry Lawler was a heel, and his partner was Jimmy Hart. And but Lawler really couldn't be a heel in Memphis. Everybody in Memphis knew him. Everybody in Memphis loved him. And the angle was Corey Macklin. Lawler kept messing with him, and Corey Macklin was an announcer, so he really wasn't a wrestler. And Lawler kept messing with him. Him and Jimmy Hart kept messing with him. Finally, he goes, "Okay, well, I'm gonna bring in a friend of mine. It was around Christmas, I remember, because Corey was like, this guy's gonna come to my house for Christmas, and we're gonna show up at the Mid-South Coliseum and wrestle you." And Lawler's like, "Well, I don't care who it is. Oh, it's Eugene." Hopefully the crowd got excited. But I did a phone-in interview, and I said, because Handsome Jimmy Valiant cut an album, and then Lawler cut the same album, and it was, I stole a lyric off it. I said, "Rolling to Memphis TWA to all my friends that Eugene's on his way." But I did a live phone in there on Memphis TV, and Jimmy Hart was there. And Jimmy Hart, when I was a kid, I tried to get a picture signed by you, and you wouldn't sign it. You ripped it up and threw it away. So that gave me just a little thing to go with him. But
yeah.
Then I tagged with Corey, and I just remember being in a Mid-South Coliseum. It was a big building, and there was a lot of people there, and just wrestling Lawler in the Mid-South Coliseum. I remember we were just standing there in the ring, and I'm just kind of like in awe, like, oh my God, this is one of those moments, that you talked about earlier, when I'm just like, I'm here, I'm in the Mid-South Coliseum, and but then, God love it, Corey was just a rotten wrestler. He's a great guy, but he was never trained,
Yeah.
You can't fault somebody who was never trained, but he was out there trying his best, and I could just see Lawler out there almost laughing at him. Lawler knocked the shit out of him, and Corey'd come back, and then there's Jimmy Hart now over there, and I've got the claw on Jimmy Hart, and he's selling it over, yelling. Jimmy was always really good to me. He was cool. It's one of the matches I didn't get a picture of me and Lawler in the ring in the Mid-South Coliseum, and I wish I would have.
TitleMatchNetwork.com